Hi, and welcome to Live with Connie. Today, my guest star is the lovely Jane with Scraptastic Yarns. And let's see, Samantha was here. I'm not sure if she's still around or not. And then there's also Michelle. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? And what are you currently working on? And I also want to welcome those that will be watching on replay. And feel free to answer any questions that we ask on the live in the comments. And if you are watching on replay, leave a comment to let us know. And let's see, how are you doing today, Jane?
I'm doing okay now that the camera's working. Panic mode. Oh no, there's another $600 down the drain.
Yeah, it's like when something goes wrong, it's like you just go in panic mode. And things are just not built like how they used to be.
Yeah, and my first thought is, are we in Mercury retrograde? Because communication is real bad during that time, and computers are real bad for me that time.
And let's see, Regina's here. Hi, Regina. How are you doing? And Sandra. And what are y'all working on? Yeah. I'm almost finished with my red and white striped I'm struggling for my words. Red and white stocking hat that I'm knitting. All I have left is the palm, which I plan to do that after I finish the live. And then tomorrow I'm gonna start on an elf hat, and it has ears.
Oh, I made it. I made several of those elf hats by, and I can't remember if it was craft, repeat after me crafter.
I love her patterns.
I think she is the one that had the elf hat, and they had us make them for the babies, so I had to figure out how to downsize it. So we did that, and I made myself one, and then the marketing person there wanted it, so wound up giving it to her and had to make me another one.
Also, I think the stocking type hats are just so cute, and like
They
the
are.
elf hats. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna be starting that tomorrow, and then of course Friday I'll be back to my temperature blanket. But there's I think 2 more weeks left. I think on my temperature blanket. Almost finished, almost. And Miguel joined us. Hi, Miguel.
I'm
How
again.
how are you and what are you working on? And Regina says she's working on a beanie. Awesome. So Sophie has been a bad kitty lately. And some of y'all know what happened. But that cat got outside again. What was it? Monday night? She was at the screen door and she was stretching out and she hit the latch and opened the door. And the moment she realized that, hey, the door is open, she's like, bye, I'm going to have some fun.
She have a
So,
boyfriend?
what's that?
Does she have a boyfriend?
Well, there's some stray cats that hang out around the house. And she's the type of cat that, like, you know, if a cat's around her, she's going to be like their best friend. The only cat that's the exception with is Allie, and that's because Allie's too ornery, and it's Allie, not Sophie.
Oh,
But it's like, and Frank saw her yesterday. She was playing in the ditch, of course, and the moment that like she saw him, I mean, she looked at him, then she ran into like the metal piping stuff in the ditch. So I mean, there's no way to get her when she goes there. And then today Frank saw her in the yard, not that far from the ditch. And he's like, why don't you try this time? See if she'll come to you. And she's all looking at me. And she kind of had that, like, where she seemed like she wanted to come to me. But the moment that I got really close, bye. She went to the ditch. I'm like, oh.
Maybe maybe a treat, one of her favorite treats, or
Yeah, we're going to have to try
no,
tuna.
I don't know.
I mean, I know she should come in when she's ready. She's having fun right now. But it's like I don't like her outside. She's not an outdoor cat.
Yeah,
You know,
I've never liked any of our cats being an outdoor cat. So
and a few months ago she snuck out when Frank had the door open. And then
right,
like what's that?
wasn't she out there for about a week or so?
The last time it was like 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
And she came up to Frank and Frank was able to get her inside. But and then about 2 years ago, she snuck out one time. And I think I caught her the next day. She loved that ditch though. And I
Yeah,
actually was like climbing on the ditch to get her. But I was more limber then.
being limber helps. Huh.
But
I,
it's like but I don't like her outside because I worry like something could happen to her, like get hit by a car.
yeah,
And
that'd be my biggest concern would be, you know, and people take off. They don't try to find where the cat lives. They're like, oh well.
and she's also a friendly cat too. So like a stranger could come up to her and she might be all lovable, and someone else could take her. My
Yeah,
baby needs
when I was younger, we had a cat, Gato, that was that way, real friendly. And we found out that he had 3 or 4 houses he went because he would disappear for a couple of days, come back. And we're like, well, he must be out there tomcatting around, even though he's fixed. But, just because cats are fixed doesn't mean they're not going to go play and have fun. But he'd show up and we'd see somebody walking on the street and, oh, is that your cat? Yeah. Well, he's been at my house for.
the, whenever I was stationed in Diego Garcia, there were cats around the base, and you really weren't supposed to like fool with the cats or like let them in your barracks room, but a lot of people did. And there was this one cat that made its rounds to like different people's barracks.
He knew who had the good food.
Okay, let's see who's joined us. We have another Jane that joined us, Christina, Isla, Nisi, Janet. I
I
think
have
that's
no yarn, Marsh.
I think that's everybody. How are y'all doing and what are y'all working on? And let's see. Michelle's working on her beaded flower valley shawl. Nice. I'm gonna have to check that out when you're done. That just sounds beautiful. And Miguel says, "Naughty Sophie." Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna have to be like really careful with her because, like I was telling Frank, we're either gonna have to start locking the screen door or like keeping the front door closed. But she's not gonna like that,
Well, no, because you can't see out.
and she loves watching outside. And Christina is working on a scarf for her granddaughter. Nice. And let's see. Ooh, you got some yarn thrown in your window, Jane.
I wish. I can't see it for all the mess that's in here. I literally have fabric all over the place. I have 2 bags I've been working on. I had an order for it's a giraffe bag.
Ooh. Ooh, that's pretty giraffes.
So I'm working on that order for that person. And then I have another bag that I cut for someone else. I don't know when I'm going to get them done. Because they're big projects. They're involve all kinds of interfacings and everything else and lots of pockets. And I like them when they're easy.
And let's see. I lost
Oh,
my.
yeah. I am very, very familiar with Chiari malformation. That's what my daughter had. And then she also had the syringiomyelia, which is pockets of spinal fluid down her spine. And they thought they
Ooh.
were cysts.
Ooh. And Nisi says she's working on Littleman's crochet amigurumi teddy bear.
That ought to be cute.
And Miguel says it's 78 over there in Texas. My computer's saying it's 21 degrees, which there's no way. But like one day it had the temperature like backwards. So I don't trust my computer's temperature.
Yeah, I don't know what it was here today. It's supposed to be 60 tomorrow here, which is really bizarre.
It's
It's
probably
49.
it's probably in the 70s here. Isola's working on a second iPad pillow. And oh, and Regina says hers is camouflage. Yeah, Miguel says he has.
Syringiomyelia.
And how you say the other one?
Chiari.
I can't. I can tell you right now, I can't get those words.
It's all those medical names. And
Mhm.
my daughter done research on that and found there are a lot of people that have the Chiari malformation and have no idea until they're like in a car accident or something and they do a CAT scan and they find it. So I found that interesting that many people, have it and don't know.
Yeah, and Frank finally got his wound care stuff seen about
Good.
finally because like initially they did some type of referral, but it was like for a foot doctor, and they only did wound care like from the ankle down, and like his stuff is his leg. I don't know. I think they messed up.
They probably did because that should have definitely seen a wound center or a wound doctor that was familiar, nurse practitioner familiar with wound care.
And I don't even understand why they didn't send him to someone like quite a while back.
You know, a lot of it depends on the insurance. A lot of it depends on the doctor that's actually seeing them because a lot of doctors don't know who to send them to, believe it or not. So,
And he went to the doctor, I think Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was Monday because I was live when he got back home. And they finally, they referred him to, and he now has home health care coming. That's going to be coming 3 days a week. They
good.
came the first time today, and he said like whenever she did the bandage and all, it's like he said it felt so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it was, his leg wasn't itching as much, but she was saying that with the venous stasis, that he can expect to have like this problem, like, the rest of his life.
Yeah, unfortunately. I have that, I have it in my skin, but I don't have it in the veins. It's just the capillaries of the skin. So I have to watch areas, to make sure that things don't go wacky.
So hopefully they can get it healed up, and hopefully he don't keep having the issues, but there's a good chance he will, unfortunately. Because like she was saying that they'll just they'll start popping up the ulcers.
Oh yeah, and they do,
So
and they do at the, the strangest times. You think you're going well, everything's going real well, and then all of a sudden you have a little spot that just.
but at least it's getting seen about. At least he's now going to be getting like proper care for it. And because like at first it just, and it just didn't seem like, he would show it to them and it's like, okay, y'all not like we need to do something, and and it was funny because when he went to the doctor Monday, it was one of the new nurse practitioners at our doctor's office that we go to, and like she was kind of like, oh no, you're like she didn't know what to do. She really didn't. She had to call the doctor.
Be surprised how many people have no clue. Um, Thomas, with one of the doctors that saw him, he wanted to look at his stoma, but we were like, we didn't bring any extra bags. I don't know. You can look through the window if there's no poo there, but he's like, oh, it's doing okay. But yeah, my wife's a ex-RN. She has a clue.
And then you know what's funny? Like whenever Frank first started going, to the doctor's clinic that we go to, well, he initially was seeing the daddy, and I was seeing the son, and I like the son, you know.
Hmm.
Well, the daddy, like, you know, Frank showed him his legs, and the dad didn't do anything. The dad was basically like, "You need to lose weight. Go on a 1,000 calorie diet. A thousand
No,
calorie for a man."
no.
And I didn't like when Frank said, "I'm like, no, he must have meant 2,000 calories."
Yeah.
And Frank showed me like where he wrote it down, like the doctor did, and it's just like, okay.
They don't even want women doing 1,000 calories.
I know. So like, I told him it's like you need to start seeing the sun. And like the first time he saw the sun, before Frank even got to mention his legs, the son was like noticed it, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm referring you to the cardiologist. We need to get that seen about."
Yep, because you got to find out what's causing it.
And I know like one time I saw the dad, and like I was having trouble with my coughing and wheezing and stuff and allergies. And you know what he did? He put me on a heartburn medicine. I'm serious.
Now, I can understand some of that for the coughing because if you do have a lot of heartburn, you will have a lot of coughing. But there are other reasons you cough too, not just that.
And then like I was getting like the itchy ears, the itchy throat and stuff. And there are cases where it can, but usually it's not. It was like that's not the issue. It
Yeah,
really isn't.
I've got an itchy throat or a little bit of a sore throat and ear pain. Generally, that's sinus related for me. And I always call and tell them, yeah, sinuses are doing it.
So now, like whenever I schedule my appointments, I always make sure I do not get the daddy.
He's old. You know, they like cases that are easy, like, you just do what I say. Don't question me.
Like, everyone says that about, like, the dad, you know, and, like, back about 7 years ago when I was in the hospital, um, there was a doctor that came in, and I'm pretty sure it was the daddy, and, like, I could be mistaken, but, like, he went into the wrong patient's room. Like, he comes in and, like and, you know, I have a fair I'm fairly, like, I'm not gonna say I'm, like, really knowledgeable with, like, medical stuff, but it's like I did work in a hospital on the surgery floor as
You
a
do?
secretary. I took medical terminology in school, even though I can't pronounce the words. And, um, I worked in medical records at a doctor's office. So, I am familiar with a lot of, a good bit of medical, terminology. And I mean, he was talking about stuff that I'm like, I have no clue what he's talking about. And I'm all confused. And like he walks out, and the nurse, walks out with him and basically tells him, "You have the wrong patient." And the
Whoops.
nurse comes back in, and she's like, "He went to the wrong room." But I mean, but that's not a good feeling.
No, that means he needs to retire. It really does. He needs to go home, put his feet up, watch TV, garden, review medical records, maybe.
And the funny thing is, I don't think he's really, that old. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I mean, like, he looks good for his age.
Mhm.
Let's see. We have Amanda that joined us, and Sandy, darling, and Angela, and Maribel. And I think that's everyone. How are y'all, and what are y'all working on? Janet says, I'm working on a kitty blanket. Meow meow. Pattern from Bag O' Day. Try the new Wander yarn from Furls, and I will not be using it again. Poor
Oh,
quality.
oh boy.
I
That bag
haven't
is
heard of
not.
that one.
Yeah, I saw it on their infomercial. They say they call them chats, but they're infomercials. Scary.
And Niecy's trying to stay warm under her Christmas blankie. I
Oh,
call them blankies too. It's 21 degrees there, and Regina says it's 60 in West Virginia.
Miss Virginia, hello.
And Miguel says, true, I was injured working, I don't know if you mean as a nurse's aide. Then
Mm-hmm.
MRI showed syrinx in spinal cord, and however you say that word again.
Sorry.
After a while, MRI of brain stem showed the Chiari.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at pronouncing those words. And I was diagnosed close to 30 years ago. I had brain decompression in 2014. Oh,
Yeah,
that's horrible, Miguel.
my daughter had the brain decompression 2002 or 3, and then of course she had a lot of problems with the syringomyelia with the pockets, and they wanted to do. She had a lot of headaches, severe headaches, and they wanted to do spinal taps to help drain that fluid, which takes away a lot of the pressure in the brain. She said, "No, I don't want that done. I'm never having anything done to my head again." They wanted to put a shunt in. I tried to talk her into it. She wouldn't have anything to do with it. And of course, the doctors were giving her pain medication to deal with the headaches. And the combination of all the medications they had her on, she developed a toxicity and died in her sleep at night, one night.
Oh,
And she had, luckily though, she used to do on every Friday night, she would take her friends' teenagers They would do movie night and dance and all that kind of stuff. They were over there that night with her and her two babies, one and the other one two, and they couldn't wake her.
Oh,
So they called 911, but otherwise she'd have been alone with those two kids until the father of her oldest son would have shown up a week later. So I'm grateful, that those two grandbabies weren't by themselves then. So, but yeah, they just, she just was stubborn as all get out. And I'd be like, come on, put the shunt in. You're going to find it's going to be easy. She wouldn't do it. So, which is unfortunate, but
yeah.
you can't change certain people's mind. And like I said, she was extremely stubborn.
And
Me,
Angela is working on her knitted socks. Awesome, Angela. And let's see. We have Chris and Sharon that joined us. Let's see if that's everyone. Yeah. How are y'all and what are y'all working on? Nisi says that's scary. I'd be looking for a new doctor.
definitely. I would be too. First time he walked into the room and I wasn't the patient he was supposed to be seeing. Bye bye, doc.
See, and like I really like the sun. You know, the sun's been pretty good. But yeah, like the one thing that does concern me though, because they're in the same doctor clinic, like when you're in the hospital.
So they cover each other.
Hmm. I'd be like, give me someone else. Okay, I'll behave. I shouldn't say that.
Luckily, here, most of the hospitals have hospitalists. So you never see your actual doctor in the
Mhm.
hospital. You see the hospitalist, which can be a good thing, and sometimes it can be a bad thing.
And Sharon says working on towel toppers. Nice. And Chris is working on his meatloaf with mashed potatoes and gravy. Going good so far.
It sounds delicious.
Can I come over? Oh, I have some really good news to tell y'all. And some of y'all have heard already. I reached my 4,000 watch hours. So I was eligible to apply for monetization today.
Around the
Woohoo!
world.
So, um, for a while there, I kind of was like unsure of the part with the AdSense, if I was doing everything properly that I needed to do. But I think that they explain like what you really need to do like after you get monetized. Um, but that part they finally approved the AdSense account, and then it shows that it's on the final step where YouTube is reviewing my channel. So hopefully all goes well and I do get monetized.
And hopefully that when you get your PIN number for them, that it will be correct and it won't take them 6 months to get it done. That's what happened to me. They sent me a PIN number. You put that PIN number in and it would say not correct.
So when they actually pay you, do they do it like via PayPal or do they do like direct deposit in your bank?
It depends on how you set it up. Mine, I
Okay.
set up to go directly into my bank account because it was just easier.
Because
So,
I
yeah,
didn't know how that works.
yeah, deposits usually around the 21st, 23rd of the month. If you have that $100 threshold, that's another big one to try to get.
But yeah, so once I hear from them and hopefully I'm approved, then I will plan my monetization party,
You're
which will
going
also
to be approved.
be my 1 year anniversary too,
Yay!
because I make 1 year on the 28th, so they're basically going to be real close together. So just have both parties all in one.
Be a good thing.
but yeah, I'll be doing a big party, and there'll be lots of prizes. But yeah, once I hear from them, then I'll start working on organizing the monetization live party. But yeah, finally.
It's about time. Yeah, it took me forever. It took me about a year, almost 2 years. And that was back before there were very many, crochet podcasts. So I was like, you know what? We need to break into this because I know there's a lot of knitting podcasts, but I like crochet better than knitting. So I wanted to do the crochet. Of course, I still do the knitting too. So
I do both.
I
and
do things for different reasons.
I try to keep, my crochet separate from my knitting videos. That way, like those that aren't into the other craft, they can just watch which one they want.
Right.
But then some people just like to see the pretty stuff being made too. So
Yeah.
even if even if they don't like, crochet or knit.
Well, I know a lot of people that watch that don't knit or crochet my channel, you know? And I'm like, I don't know why well, I do know why. They watch for the water intonation. Come on.
I mean, I know like one of my friends, like she subscribed to my channel even though she don't knit or crochet. But I think she one day wants to learn. So maybe she'll finally get into it. But
Eventually, she'll be seeing how much fun you're having, you know? And she'll be like,
yeah.
"Will you teach me?"
But yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, thank thank you all that have been there supporting me along my journey, watching my videos, being my Yorny friends, and those that were watching my playlist and helping me get those hours in. But yeah, it's been a journey.
Sometimes it thinks you think you're never going to get there, and then bam, it happens. So
and
that's the
and
best
I
part.
was I was feeling like that because like whenever I was at like around 700 subscribers, I just felt like I was kind of just standing still, and it was just like, and like my goal was I was hoping to get monetized by the end of the year. But at that point, I didn't see it happening. And I was just like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then like some of y'all were helping me out, giving me shout outs on y'all community page to try to help me get to 1K. And then evidently Bag O Day saw it,
Yay!
and that like really made a difference. And thank you, Bag O Day, for your help. I gotta thank you. And
Yeah, she's always a great help. You
mhm.
know, it seems like if anybody can get you over the hump, it'll be Crystal. So yeah,
And I hope everyone continues to enjoy my videos. And let's see.
and we do. And Miguel, yours are not a mess. I still watch them.
Yeah, we love you, Miguel.
Now, see, I
I
don't
just want to say that I'm so proud of her.
biscuit.
My green screen was filtering his shirt out a lot.
Now, I have a question. Do you use OBS?
What was that?
Do you use OBS for your green screen?
Um,
Do you use the
when I go live from Restream, I use OBS. but I'm really not that. I prefer StreamYard. I
Mhm.
only use Restream like if I'm running low on StreamYard hours.
Yeah.
And then like Monday, I was forced to go live from Restream
I know.
because
I was watching that and I was like, why is she on Restream?
what it was my hours are supposed to reset on the 13th, and it was the 13th. But like I contacted their customer service wondering why I hadn't reset yet. And they said it typically goes by the time that you created your account. And like mine was at 2 p.m. and they said you should get it around 2.
Wow.
But I went live at 11:30, so so and then I was worried because you know I had a guest store, and I was like, well, are they going to be okay with trying to use Restream? And like they had, and Heather had never gone live before. That was her first live.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, hopefully this works out. And I'm not like I had never had a guest store, so I was kind of like, hopefully everything works with adding her, because when I had gone live from Restream previously, Spring had tried to come up on my panel, and I couldn't get her. I couldn't get her on the
Mhm.
panel. So I was kind of like, but everything seemed to go okay. So,
That's good.
but yeah, I much prefer StreamYard. I just find it's more user friendly, but I think Restream, there's more options if you want to get like fancier with your videos and stuff like that.
And here's the newbie here who knows nothing about it. So I might eventually go into it. I've
Chris
thought
is
about it. But then the smart part of my brain says, nope, don't do it.
Chris is saying that the green screen made Frank look all sparkly.
It did. It was glistening.
And Isla saying, I will get monetized in about 5 years. After 10 months, my videos only get 10 primary views. It takes about a week from them to get 20 views. But Isla, you never know when that will turn around. You
No, you
don't.
don't. You don't. Because you'll be there one day, you'll have 30 people, and then the next day, bam, you've got 70 and you don't know what happened. Then the following week you've got another 90 because you don't know who's posting where and sharing where. So
Hmm. You know, comment on other content creators' videos. Another thing too is like showing up to people's lives can help,
it helps
because
a lot. And
it
I will tell you, that's where I find a lot of new people because many times I'll go into a live and, I don't normally comment, but I'll watch. But I'll be going along and I'll say, oh, I don't know that name. Let me go see if they have a channel. Do they have any videos? Um, I just find it a great way to find new people and then to be able to share them out to other people.
but yeah, and like, and once other content creators start taking notice of you, and like you start getting more shout outs, that helps. um I can add Let me add you to my list for my next shout out video, which hopefully I get to do this week. I haven't done one in about 2 weeks. Where's my list? But let me but it's just, I find like the more you talk with people in the Yorny community, all that helps.
Definitely helps. And then, of course, you get yourself like I did. I got into a controversy, and that's how my channel went boom. I wouldn't advise going that way. I got in with the whole Ravelry debacle. And one night I was like, I think I was up almost to 1,000 people. And the next morning I look and I'm like, 2,000 people? What happened? I was at stupid Ravelry. Oh, there were some nasty comments on that video, and I leave them all up for everybody to see.
But yeah, like I said, you just got to give it time, and people will start noticing you more.
And another thing is, don't be afraid to contact other content creators to ask them to shout you out, or to even do just a small little collaboration. It may be just a one-time thing, but do that, and a lot of people will be really glad, to do that.
And that is true because that's what I had done whenever people were posting me on their community pages, I started asking people if they could. And then next thing you know, Bago Day took notice, and you know, I gained like 600 new subscribers, I think.
Like that. That's the best part, like that.
And if she would have left it on her community page longer, I probably would have gotten more, because I was still getting, a good bit of new people. But I mean, like I said, you just, stick with it, it'll happen. And that's another thing too, going live too. Doing lives also helps. And can one of my moderators drop Isola's channel link? If y'all don't have Isola, go grab her up. Throw that yarn in her window. Throw lots and lots of yarn in her window.
A whole ton of it.
Amanda says, I will probably try to do some lives on my own after the first of the year. Awesome.
All right, because I was thinking the same thing. I might venture in. I'll dip my toes in.
And one thing I do want to put out there, like those that do lives, if y'all ever want to have me as a guest star, I'm willing. Just let me know. But
the more you're seen out there, the better it is for you. And it just helps your channel grow. It helps you grow as a content creator, those kind of things. So just don't be afraid. Go for it.
But yeah.
A lefty. Marsh Knitting 101 is a lefty. Well, I'll tell you what. I have a girlfriend that just started watching me. She just started knitting. She's left-handed. And she said, I really want you to do some left-handed knitting videos. And I said, but I'm right-handed. So my challenge for myself next year is to learn how to knit left-handed.
One thing I heard, that there's a way with like the editing to reverse it.
Yeah, there is, but it's not actually really correct.
Okay. I had heard that.
If you watch Terry's videos when she does the reverse on the right-handed side, because she's left-handed, you'll notice that some of the things don't look right. So, yeah. Even crochet, they don't look right. So,
what's funny though?
Close, but they're not quite exactly right.
What's funny? I am actually left-handed.
Really?
But I crochet and all right-handed.
I was going to say, I think I've seen you right-handed crochet.
I do it right-handed.
Yeah, my sister is left-handed, and I believe she taught herself to crochet right-handed. because there wasn't anybody to show her to do it left-handed.
And the thing was that it's it's like patterns are written right for right-handed.
Yes.
And I have heard that some patterns you actually can't convert to left-handed. Like, I don't think there's many, but I have heard that there are some. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It's much easier not have to worry about reversing patterns. And at the time, I'm like, I don't even know really how you reverse a pattern. I'm like, why don't I try to learn right-handed and see if I can do it?
Yeah, and I'm curious how you would reverse a pattern. That would take a lot of brain power, I would think. Because
So
you'd
I
have
was,
to reverse every line.
to me, it's just easier. And a lot of things like when you're left-handed, a lot of times you kind of are a little ambidextrous
Mm-hmm.
because you live in a right-handed, world. Because I
Yeah,
know
you have to learn to adapt.
I use right-handed scissors. In elementary school, I got tired of, like, I think there was like 2 or 3 of us that were left-handed in my class. And I think they had like 2 pair of left-handed scissors. So one of us would tend to have to wait to use the scissors. And I got tired of that, so I just started using the right-handed. And at first it was awkward, but then I got used of it.
And see that I think that would be just like us right-handed people when we try to do left-handed. Our hands don't even work that way. They're like, nope, nope.
Because what's funny is a lot of times when I go to learn something new, I'm like, okay, which hand am I going to be using?
Well, when I had the tennis elbow incident where I pulled that thing, I had to teach myself because I wanted to crochet so badly to do left-handed. Now I still do left-handed crochet a little bit, but I don't practice it as much as I should, you know? But I did notice that crocheting left-handed, my tension is very different, and there are some things that just don't make sense. Like when you're trying to do a bobble. No, Jane skipped the bobbles. They were scary.
Let's see, we have Lisa that joined us.
There's
Uh,
my Lisa.
how are you doing and what are you working on?
I don't know. The last thing I saw with Lisa, she was talking about beaver balls and something with Cindy. I was like, I think I missed a whole conversation here.
Amanda's saying that she loves you, Jane, especially that one intonation portion of your videos.
Yeah, I started that when I injured this arm because I had no content. So I thought, well, every once in a while I find a story and I go, what in tarnation? I thought, you know what? There are a lot of those stories, and there are a lot.
And Regina says, just got 20 yarn family. I need to put some more videos. Awesome. And I do have you down for my next shout out video. I'm just kind of behind right now. 'Cause I still need to do my crochet Tuesday video for this week. And then I need to finish the finished projects video. Um like I have all the pictures ready to go, but I need to film like the beginning and the ending of that video and then put it all together with my editing software. But I'm hoping to get both those videos done tomorrow and upload it. But like I said, I'm kind of running behind this week.
Well, Tuesday will be Thursday, maybe Friday.
So I really was wanting to do a shout out video this week, and I'm hoping I get around to it, but it may not be until next week, unfortunately. we'll just have to see what happens. And as it is, like most of this morning, I was busy with stuff for my channel. So I was doing the winter videos. So I had to redraw on two pattern. Well, on a pattern giveaway and on Daigo's uh, birthday angels giveaway. And then I had to pick the winner on one of the my patterns that I hadn't gotten to yet, which I was a couple of days late on that. And I really want to try to get around to doing my temperature blanket video this weekend.
Gotta get it finished.
Well, what I want to do,
there's only 2 more weeks, so
I want to do this a little bit before the new year starts because I want to explain what a temperature blanket is. And I want to do a challenge for people to make a temperature blanket in 2022. And those that complete their temperature blankets will get entered into a giveaway.
Ooh, I've never done a temperature blanket. Maybe I should think about it. Yeah, I like a little competition.
But yeah, and and I want to show like my plans on how I'm going to be doing mine for next year, and I'll show a picture and probably show part of my one that I made last year, and probably even kind of talk about the one that I'm still technically working on from this year, but there's not much left to do on it. But yeah, that's the plans. Temperature blanket challenge.
That'll be fun.
And another thing I want to do, like I do want to do some challenges this year. So
I want to keep up this year. I just feel like I've fallen really behind, and it seems like there's not enough time to get anything done. So
because I have thought about. Sorry.
I need to quit watching videos and get something done.
Because like one thing I have like thought about doing is, well, I really want to try to encourage people to knit, to learn knitting, or to do some stuff with knitting. So I don't know if I'm gonna like do this like just for knitting, or if I'm gonna do it like for like any like crochet and loom knitting and stuff. But I was thinking about doing like a beanie challenge sometime next year.
Knit beanies or both?
I don't know yet because I would like to do it just knitting to kind of encourage people to try to learn to knit. But I know like not everyone knits. And I kind of don't want to leave people out too. So I may decide to include crochet too. So
It could be two separate competitions.
Or I could do something like that. Have one for crochet, one for knitting. I mean, they may not be going on at the same time, but that is an idea too. And like basically, for every beanie that you would make, you get an entry. But that's gonna be hard keeping up with the entries.
Well, that would be hard. Might be you'd have to have time limits. Like they have 1 month to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably how I would do it. But
or 2 weeks or a week.
Because I would have to do all the entries by hand. I wouldn't be able to do it like, YouTube comment picker.
No, that would be hard. Either you would have to find one of those wheels and put them all on a wheel or whatever.
Yeah, I could do it that way. That is true.
Of course, I don't know where to find the wheel. You'll have to ask Terry or Lottie where they find the wheel. I'm sure there's a place for those kind of things.
I think it comes up. I think it comes up if you Google YouTube wheel, I think. 'Cause I know I found it before, but I've never actually used the wheel yet. Look,
Lisa, like you talk about wanting to learn to knit. I tried to knit for 20 years. Um, I knit my daughter's baby blanket. They had those big, long 14-inch needles. Couldn't figure out because all I had, what they showed was the throw method in the book, and it felt awkward to me because I'd been crocheting all my life. And I didn't know what to do with that needle, so I stuck the needle in my belly button. And I knit that entire blanket, baby blanket, that way. I finished it off, and I had to go to the doctor for an OB checkup, and my OB wanted to know why my belly button was so red. I said, well, that's where I put the knitting needle when I'm knitting. He got hysterical. He's like, oh my God, don't do that. I said, well, I'm done with the blanket. I'm not done. I continued to try, but that throw method, I just could not get it. And then after 20 years, I kept trying, and I finally said, I'm going to learn how to knit. And I found a video that showed continental knitting. And to me, that made so much sense, being a crocheter, that I started that. And I think within 6 months, I started to learn cables. That's when I did the Tree of Life Afghan. First cables ever. Crazy. I don't go slow. I go. But yeah, if you're determined, you can learn to do it.
see, I started off. I learned how to loom knit, but the one thing with loom knitting, I find it kind of restricts you,
It does, big time.
or you have to sew all these panels together, and I don't like the sewing panels together.
Where you've got that big loom that's, humongous, and you got to figure out how to manage it. And, yeah.
See, I never got that loom. I was wanting to, but then I learned how to knit, and you know, I picked up on knitting pretty quickly, and the thing was is I had wanted to learn how to crochet, and like a few years before I got into the loom knitting, I had tried crochet, and I could not get it. I could not. I was like I had like I think I was doing like everything wrong. And I was like, I have to have someone sit by me and teach me, to learn. And it was just like, I don't think I'm ever going to learn. And I got to the point where I was looking for like holiday beanie patterns. Because y'all know I like my holiday beanies.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always see all these cute things for crochet in adult hat sizes. But like knitting, you didn't find as much.
No.
And like some things I kind of would like kind of take something that was crocheted and get an idea of like making it knitted version, or like certain pictures sometimes I could kind of do. But and then I had like gotten that craftsy like promotional offer. And I was like, let me see what they have for crochet tutorials. And I tried Selena Bacchus, and like, I mean, it was like boom with her. I mean, she's so thorough, and I mean, count your stitches. And like every lesson you did, it was like count those stitches, use that stitch marker, Um,
And that is so important. I don't know how to tell you how important it is. We have a couple people at the prayer shawl ministry that when they're making blankets, they don't count their stitches, they don't use stitch markers, and you have blankets. And we have to find a way to fix them.
those rows have to be even. You have to have the same amount of stitches.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're doing some fancy type stuff, but like typically, anything flat, it's got to, and the other thing too is, when you get to the end of the row, it's like how many chains to do.
Right.
That was one thing that really confused me was the turning, the amount of chains, and then, how many stitches to skip. But the funny thing is, it's like once you get it, it's like there's a pattern to it. It's like, and it's like, oh, this makes so much sense now. But yeah, but I started crocheting. Let's see, it's a little over a year. It was September. I started learning crochet. Let's see, we have some new people that joined us. Let's see, we have Susan, and let's see. I know I saw some other new names. We have Nancy, Deneen, Heather, Mary, and I think that's everybody. Hopefully, I'm not missing anyone. But how are y'all doing today, and what are y'all working on? Yeah, Amanda's a loom knitter. And she said among folks that crochet, so that doesn't matter, I promise. Exactly. And like some channels, some people just mostly show like what they're making and stuff like that. You don't always have to do tutorials.
No.
And tutorials is something too that I do want to work on next year to try to do more with tutorials and hopefully have an easier time doing tutorials because I struggle with tutorials. It's like it's so hard to like get that camera angled
and to get it right and for it to stay there.
and it's like you drift.
Yeah, I drift, the camera drifts. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, tutorials are not easy. I always wish that someone would just show their setup the way it's set up and what they use, instead of keeping it all secret. I don't know if you've ever seen Mikey of the Crochet Crowd, where he is sitting and he has all those microphone, C stands set up for his. And I'm like, good Lord, I'd kill myself getting up out of that. He's got a lot of those sitting up, but it works for him. But he's one of the few that shows you his setup.
Ideally, you really want the camera like up high, but it's like, how do you, you gotta have like special equipment.
And apparently my camera is not the right camera for that.
Because if not, it's like you're hugging your tripod.
Oh, that's always fun. And then the hand is out of the shot.
Okay, Angela's asking me, when I did my knitted socks, did you count the cast on stitches? Yes, I did. I followed what's her channel name? Was it Crazy Sock Lady? Is that? It's something like that. It's something Sock Lady.
Is it the Crazy Sock Lady? There's the crazy answer lady. She does a lot of knitting crochet. I'm thinking of Soxy Alice. So I'm thinking of.
But I think this was I think it's Crazy Sock Lady. It's something Sock Lady. But yeah, and I did the one where doing it on the circular 9-inch circulars. But yeah, I counted my rows too. Like how they tell you to measure, I counted to make sure like when I did my other sock, I had the same amount. And like I tried everything, I tried to do everything I could to ensure they would be the same size.
Yeah, I have that second sock syndrome. I'll do the first, but I don't want to do the second one. And I found I don't like the feel of knitted sock on my feet. Um, I don't mind crocheted socks. I like those on my feet. And I had a girlfriend, she says she doesn't like it, the feel either, but she turns her socks inside out and they're fine. Never tried that.
Now I haven't crocheted socks yet. I've just done one pair of knitted so far.
You have to be real careful with those crochet ones because you got to make sure you got the same amount of rows. Otherwise, one's real long, one's real short.
But I do want to I want to make some socks with that yarn Gina sent me. Where you have that self striping yarn and the
Yeah,
cuff and heels a different color.
yeah, that'd be very pretty. That yarn she sent you is beautiful. So
Mm. And then I also want to do a pair with like cables, like some form of like cable work. But that I'll have to do in a like probably a plain color. Cables look better with a solid color.
yeah, if it's too busy, they just don't look right. I think anyway, but that's just me.
Nisi says she still needs 1,680 watch hours. Gonna have to start getting some people to play her playlist.
Remember, you can hit the playlist and just let it play all night long while you're sleeping.
Mhm.
Sound down creates lots of watch hours.
And another thing, I don't know if you've done this, Nisi, but if you put all your videos in one playlist,
Mm-hmm.
that makes it easier for people to watch your playlist. To let it run, because like for the longest time when I heard that, I was like, okay, well, I have playlists for like my types of videos, and I always thought that's what people meant. And then like one day, I think it was Jill from Fiber Floozy was talking about how it's a pet peeve of hers when people don't put the like do a playlist with all their videos, and I'm just like, oops. and she was explaining how you know when people want to go to watch playlists, that that's what they do. They'll look for that playlist with all your videos. So it's like
And,
after that I did it.
and I don't have one that has all of mine, so I guess now I need to go do that trick.
But
I would separate it out, like, yarn hauls, whatever.
But one thing I did start questioning was if YouTube always counted the hours when people would watch playlists.
I don't know. And
Because like, sorry.
and I wondered that too because you're not moving from one channel to another back and forth. Are they counting every minute? Say you're there for 16 hours. Do they count the whole thing?
And the thing that, like, I kind of notice, like, there, because I would hear people saying they were playing my playlist, and there were a few days that, like, my watch hours stayed the same.
Yeah.
And it's that, so that's where I started kind of questioning. And I have heard a few people mention that you got to delete your watch history. So I don't know if that, that's why it didn't always seem like, the hours showed, or I don't know. But that's what some people have said.
And the Imhan just asked, if you watch a video more than once, does it count twice? I don't know. I want to know that too.
You can Google some of that. I think you can watch it twice. But then I think some of it depends on like like you have to like wait like so long before it might count again or something. I don't really remember, but you can Google it and they'll kind of tell you some of that. Like I said, I'm really not sure, but like one thing that I kind of observed from my countdown with my watch hours, um, I think YouTube is like 2 or 3 days behind
Oh,
when
yeah,
when it
definitely.
when it comes to what they show on your monetization tab. And like for the most part, I think it's 3 days.
Well, and see, that's what I wonder about. Because if you go into the YouTube studio and you'll look and it'll show you what your guesstimated monetization money you'll make. One day it's 56, then you go back 3 weeks later and it's $46. And you're like, huh? How do you lose money?
But 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 I mean, I did start noticing like what when I tended to get like my hours from whenever I went live, and I could always tell like whenever I'm live, I got a good amount of watch hours, and but like on days like I didn't put any video out, like a lot of those days, like my hours either like stayed the same or maybe went up like one or two, and and like I said, it made me wonder if they always count like the playlist watch hours or not. I don't know, but
Guess
it's not like you're told what they do. It's not like you get any breakdown, real true breakdown.
well, you really don't get a true breakdown. Just like, you hear you make anywhere from 3 cents to some people make $10 for people who watch a video. And the ones that are making $10 are like Mr. Beast, Crystal, you know, most likely those people, for people who watch a whole video, make that $10 per watch, whatever. But the rest of us, we have no clue. And there's nowhere that I've found that you actually get a real breakdown of that.
Samantha, when it comes to dropping channels, typically just those that are in the chat. Like every now and then, like we may talk about a channel, and then like I'll say like, can one of my mods drop that link? But typically, it's those that are in the chat, and most of them will usually type CC in the comments if they want their links dropped. But if you see like one that has a channel, if you want to drop their link, that's fine too. Because I know like usually whenever I moderate on Crystal's channel, Crystal the Yorny Chicken and Crazy Cat Lady, like if I know if I see that you're a content creator, I automatically drop your link. Let's see, we have Jessica that joined us, and let's see, Cynthia. And is that everybody? I think that's everybody. How are y'all, and what are y'all currently working on? Oh, I'm behind on these comments. Let's see. Maribel says, I'm left handed and crochet left handed, but mostly watch right handed tutorials. Regina says, I do okay. I still knew I self-taught myself from watching YouTube. Yeah, I learned how to knit from Expression Fiber Arts, Shondi's channel. That's how I learned. And then once I got the stitches down, then I learned a lot from Morley Bird because I started doing like her patterns and I learned a lot that way. Like I think the third thing I knitted was a shawl. And it was one of those um um triangle shawls. And it had like yarn overs knit two togethers. It wasn't just like garter stitch. I jumped right in.
Way to go.
But you learn a lot like that. And that's typically like when I come across a pattern, I just start it. And if I don't know what to do, then I start trying to look it up. And then if I can't figure it out, then I go to some of my yarny friends and like, help, help. Oh, Wolfie's at the door.
Let her
She's
in.
coming in. She may be coming in. Yes. For those that didn't hear me at the beginning of the live, my cat Sophie snuck out Monday night. She actually opened the screen door herself and let herself out. So hopefully she comes in. Oh, she ran off. Come on, Sophie. You need to come in, baby. And let's see. Oh, and Sandy saying, Jane, enjoy your crapazor this week and have fun and good luck. And Lisa saying that how Jane gave her first shout out back in the day. I will never forget how freaked out I was. I had 0 subscribers until she stumbled on my channel.
She was so cute. You need to go watch those videos.
Yeah,
She's so cute.
I was all excited when Jane stumbled across my channel.
And I always find that interesting why people are so freaked out. I'm like, yeah, well, I find a good channel. I want people to enjoy it.
I think what it is because when you see like a channel larger than you, it's kind of like you kind of in a sense put them more on a pedestal. Like, you kind of think that they're like
Well, mine's a shady stepladder, but okay.
and but the funny thing is, like all of everyone's pretty much this, we're all Yorny friends, we're all Yorny people,
Yeah. Well, I know I would totally get freaked out if I was shouted out by Crystal or even if it was Craig over at Fiber Spider. I love it. And I would be like, oh my God. Oh my God.
And that was my reaction whenever Crystal from Bag O' Day shouted me out on her community page. Because it's like I'm scrolling on my phone and I see and I'm like, what? And I'm like, Frank, Frank. I took a picture of it.
I would too. I mean, it's Crystal.
And that's like, there was twice that she popped up in the chat on my lives. And this was before, this was around, I think, like the 4th of July. This is, long before that shout out. And it was just like, I'm looking at the chat and I see Bag O' Day and I'm like, oh, it's Crystal. But the funny thing is, she really is just like us, But but it's like, but we think because she's a bigger channel, that we get that like kind of
Yeah, but she's a
girl
star.
thing.
She's a star.
And so, I mean, you never know when someone will shout you out.
Yeah, you never do. Just when you think it's not going to happen, it happens. So,
And I always say, if you want a shout out from me, just let me know. I try to notice new channels, but I don't always notice everybody out there,
yeah,
unfortunately.
I don't either. Sometimes I find them through other people. And that's
Hmm.
fine too, because then I'll re-shout their names so it's out there, you know?
And sometimes whenever I'm at a live, if I hear someone saying how they just started a channel, it's like I'll write their name down,
Yep.
and usually they appear in one of my next shout out videos. So I mean, I look for people to shout out.
Samantha has asked what my favorite crochet project is. Well, Samantha, there are two things that I love to make. I love to make Afghans, more lapgans than Afghans. But I also love making the baby hats. I love doing that. Knit or crochet.
Let's see. Margaret joined us. Hi, Margaret. How are you doing tonight? And what are you working on? I'm gonna have to start skimming some of these comments. I'm so far behind. Let's see. Okay, Heather says she's going to be having a Christmas giveaway on her channel. So yeah, go check that out. And if y'all don't have Heather, grab her up.
Yeah.
She's a new content creator. And can one of my mods drop Heather's link? Yeah, throw that yarn around. Okay, let's.
Sharon creates. She just started posting content last month. And you are on my next list to shout out, Sharon. So I found that and thought, I know. I'm going to check this out.
And then like another thing too, sometimes like some of the people that I shout out, sometimes I get ideas from Jane's shout out videos.
Yeah.
Because I'll take some of them from hers and shout them
That's
out.
fine. And that is absolutely fine. That's what it's all about, sharing and caring.
Or some of the others that if I see them shout someone out on their community page that I'm like, oh, that's a new one. Or like they do a shout out video. Yeah, I try to shout out as many people as I can.
Yeah, I find it fun because it's, of course, I feel bad if anybody tries to go into my channel list to see if I'm subscribed to them because they're going to be there a while. Because I usually subscribe to everybody that I shout out. So my list is big. But I also do that lots of times. Like, if I'll see someone's name there, I'll go look and see if they list any channels that they're subscribed to see if there's something that I don't, never subscribed to or don't know about too. There are a lot of ways to find new channels.
Mm.
And the little bar above is a little difficult, but there are some filters that you can put in if you go to that page, and you can find new channels that way too.
And another one that tends to do shout out videos too, but you have to ask her for a shout out is Ladybird.
Yeah.
But if you ask her, she'll give you a shout out.
Look, there's Granny D.
Hey, Granny D, how you doing tonight? And what are you working on? And yeah, for those that didn't hear me earlier, I made my watch hours. So
Yes, I do.
I started the process for applying for monetization, waiting for YouTube to review me, and then hopefully I'll be monetized soon. And then it's party time.
Yeah, I like Tiffany Hansen. Samantha had asked if I follow her, and I do follow Tiffany. She's just adorable.
But yes, Sandy, I agree with you. Left-handers live in a right-handed world.
Yep.
Let's see. Isla saying how it took her a long time to learn to knit because she was a long time crocheter. Mm. And usually I hear that all the time. Those that learn crochet first have a hard time learning knitting.
And Isla had also mentioned in one of the comments about doing Portuguese knitting. I watched a video on Portuguese knitting and I find it absolutely interesting. One of the first ladies I met here in Pennsylvania, she was a French war bride, Miss Giselle. And she used to knit with her needle under her arm. And it just fascinated me because I would just watch her and she'd like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I just find that fascinating. Never seen anybody knit with it under there." She goes, "Yeah, well, when you travel around, you learn new ways to do things." So
I want to learn Tunisian crochet.
that's fun.
Because Amanda was sweet enough that she sent me some Tunisian crochet hooks. So that's one thing I definitely want to learn next year. I'm all excited about it. Something new. Hopefully it's not that hard. It don't look that hard.
It's not that hard. It's pretty easy.
Because I watched like one tutorial that showed like one of the basic stitches. So, and Maribel says get a hold of Gina. She's pretty good with the wheel. Yeah, and Gina with Knitting Turnpike. She's an amazing knitter.
I know. Amazing.
She does such gorgeous work. And speaking of Gina, which I need to start getting the word out about this, I will be going live with her this Sunday on her channel. I think it's at 1 p.m. Let me check. Yeah, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be live over at Gina's channel. My hat's starting to. Yeah, I find my brim's a little loose. So it kind of like starts to pull when I haven't on a while.
And that is the one thing I always forget. It's easier when you're knitting or crocheting to go down a hook size or a needle size for the brim. I always forget that.
And the funny thing is, it's like I almost did the brim with the smaller needle, and I should have because, like I said, it is a little loose because like the weight starts to pull it, but I still like it.
Gina's channel name is Knitting Turnpike.
Yes, she's amazing. Yeah, she was one of my first Yorny friends.
Because
Because like,
me is all that thin yarn she uses.
she loves the really good yarn. But but yeah, with Gina, me and her started talking before I started my channel. And she was one that encouraged me to start a channel because I had told her I was thinking about it. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, that bougie yarn is beautiful, but man, can it eat up some money quickly.
And Isla says, I have been looking at YouTube knitting videos from 12 to 14 years ago. They would talk about machine knitting, not loom knitting. Loom knitting is fairly new. Actually, loom knitting has been around for quite a while. I don't know as much about the bigger looms per se, but I know as a kid I had a Barbie doll dress loom.
I was going to say I started loom knitting in 2001. And I know it'd been out there for quite some time with the nifty knitters. Do you remember those? I have a whole set of them.
Because that's what actually made me think about, is there like looms to make like projects like hats and, scarves and shawls and stuff? Because I remember having that loom as a kid that I made some Barbie doll dresses with, or like the pot holder loom. I loved making pot holders. Let's see, Sharon saying, I learned a little knitting, but crochet has so much new to learn and it relaxes me. Yeah, there's so much in crochet. Let's see. Nisi saying, I'm a beginner, no tutorials here, but I may just do some crochet chat videos where all you see is my hands crocheting while I talk about a topic. And that's one thing that, like, I don't know, like, I don't think I could sit there and like knit or crochet really while I'm live. I don't think I could do it.
See, now that sounds like it needs to be a challenge.
Yeah, it would have me go silent on y'all probably.
Oh, yeah.
Susan's working on a crochet blanket for her grandson. Let's see.
Now, Samantha is asking about advice for putting out her first YouTube video on her channel.
Basically, just be yourself.
Yeah. Remember to tell people your name.
Yes.
That's a big beef for me. I want to know your name, at least on one video.
And like my advice is like make some notes about what you want to talk about. But like don't write like a script, just make little notes and go from there. And editing is your friend.
Yeah, it is your friend. Yeah,
Yes.
don't be afraid to have like a cheat sheet that has, bullet points of what you want to talk about. Although I will tell you, one of the YouTubers that I watch about starting a YouTube always says you should have a script, but I can't follow a script. I actually do better if I just have like bullet points that, say I want to introduce myself. This is what I do. This is what I want to do with my channel, that kind of thing. And then send us the links. Email us the link. That way we can get it out there, share it with everybody.
And one thing I practiced a little on my web camera to kind of start getting a feel for talking in front of a camera. But if you can figure out editing, editing is your friend. But yeah, like my advice is just write down notes what you want to talk about. Tell people a little bit about yourself, like how you got into crochet or knitting, and tell them what your plans are for your channel, things like that.
I think my very first video, I just pushed the button and just started yammering. And it's probably an awful video. Well,
Yeah, I'm going back and rewatch my first video, and I'm just like,
I have gone back and I have said, Jane, could you slow down in your talking? Because I was so nervous. And I was literally shaking. And I don't know why, because I was just filming it. It was just me and the camera.
Because my first video, I'm more like, stiff and, being more matter of factly. And now you see more of my personality in my videos.
But those are great to go back to and to watch. I mean, I've gone back and watched some of mine and I'm like, really?
But I did cover a lot of good information, but you could tell like I was more nervous and not used to being in front of the camera.
And you do get used to it after a while. It becomes very easy.
And let's see. We have Jonna that joined us. And can one of my moderators drop Jonna's link? And let's see. I saw someone else. We have Jeannie here too, Proverbs 31, and Trudy. And I know I saw some others. I'm so far behind on the chat. I don't know if I'm gonna be. I don't even know if I'll be able to catch up. I saw someone else. Okay, Barbara's here. Jen, I think that's everybody. If I missed anyone, I do apologize. But how are y'all and what are y'all working on? Let's see. I need to start wrapping things up. But I'm trying to see if there's anything that needs to be addressed that I didn't read. And Maribel says it is the crazy sock lady. Okay, yeah. It's like I always tend to like remember like ports of names, and I have trouble like knowing if I have it completely right. And I think I told Jessica hi. If not, hi Jessica. Let's see. Yeah, Maribel saying how she thinks you can watch it up to 3 times and it counts. After that, you have to clear your history and can watch it again.
Yeah, I heard something about 3 times before somewhere else too.
It might be 2. It's for some reason 2 sticks in my head, but like I said, I'm not sure. Then Nisi saying no, it only counts once. You have to clear your history in order for your watch to count a second time. Then Cynthia saying how when I watch a video, a red line goes under it. After a while, it goes away. I've heard that if the line goes away, you can watch it again and it will count. But you see, that's what it's like. No one really knows completely. It's like we all kind of guess.
And I'm sure that guidebook is like 10 feet tall for Google and YouTube.
Let's see. Okay, Samantha wants to know what I had for dinner. I didn't really eat much. I don't know. My stomach's been kind of wonky. But I had some stuffing. So what did you have, Jane?
Tacos. We had tacos.
Ooh, yummy. Okay. And I think I told Margaret hi, but if not, hi, Margaret. Oh, and Samantha wants to know your favorite crochet project, Jane.
Baby hats and lap cans. And I'm from Pennsylvania.
Ooh, Cynthia. Oh my, she won a bod giveaway.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was like, whoa, way to go.
I would pass out from shock if I won one of hers. And yeah, I would screenshot it too. And she made it her screensaver. Then she shouted me out. Awesome. And let's see. Samantha wants to know when you started your channel, Jane.
I don't remember. I believe it was maybe 2010. Maybe later. I don't remember.
Okay, and Jen's saying that she found a newer channel tonight. She has less than 5 months, I think, on YouTube. Could you send me an email to let me know what that channel's called, Jen, if you're still around. Sharon saying it all started with Crystal showing off Daniel's yarn, and through him I found everyone else. Yeah,
All it takes.
Bod loves Daniel. She stalks him. Let's see.
Just one of these days when she has the yarns, the Steve yarn, I would like to get Steve that yarn, but I'm like, I think that might happen 40 years from now. People might be done with that color and I can finally get it.
The Steve yarn. I thought that was so cool. And then I don't know if any of y'all have seen it was Bod's video from a couple of days ago for her Bod life, where like you see Steven and Rob in the video.
And they were under the tree and Steve had taken off that bauble or whatever it was.
And Rob left all the ornaments off the tree everywhere. And then I was laughing because whenever she was like opening boxes, I was waiting for Rob to jump in the box.
I keep waiting for any one of the cats to jump in there.
And Granny D says that she enjoyed the sign you made her.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun creating that. I was like, I gotta find something to give her because it's gotta be something different.
And Samantha wants to know if we follow Katrina from Katrina's Crochet World. Yes. And Katrina has been on my channel. I think within the last month she was on my channel. Mm-hmm. And I pop in on her live sometimes. Or when she's on the panels. She's on Zach's panel a lot. And let's see. Thank you, everyone that's commenting on my Santa hat. Wait till y'all see what I'm up to with the next hat I'm going to make that's knitted. I plan to start it tomorrow. It's got ears. Okay. I hope you have a good night, Isla. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap things up soon because I'm like over like how long I normally stay live. Let's see. Oh, and Nana Crochet Ideas is here. Hi, and how are you doing today? Yeah, I missed her earlier whenever I was scrolling. Yeah, I just want to make sure I address like if anyone had questions and stuff like that. Yeah, and Jeannie says her mom said when she was young, I guess her sister was looming, so it's been around for a long time. Yep. Yeah, I agree with Granny D. It's like once I started knitting, it's like I don't really find like really like why I'm trying to find my words, but kind of like why loom knit now when I know how to knit? It's like I could do so much more with knitting than what I can on a loom. But I did like some of the stitches that I did on shawls with the loom. Like Deborah Shaw has a lot of good videos for loom knitting.
Isla Phelps does too. Loom knitting. She had a lot of good ones. What editing software do you use?
Yeah, I use Shotcut. It's free. But I know a lot of people, I can't remember what it's called, but there's one that's real popular. But it does have a free version, the one that's real popular. But you have a watermark.
Kind Master. Is it Kind Master?
No. And but there, like, it has a paid version. But like I said, I use Shotcut though. Shotcut is free.
See, I have a Mac, so I just use iMovie.
But
and
like,
I'm trying to learn the Shotcut. It confuses me.
it takes a while to figure things out. Like, I have to like look up tutorials. That's how I learned. I go to YouTube, look up how do I do this. But I think I'm like pretty much the only one that uses Shotcut. I haven't heard of anyone else using it. But yeah, editing can take a while.
You just need to pick a software and start learning it.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that like I tend to do like pictures and stuff like that and videos, and so that's where too like editing takes me longer.
OpenShot, I think that's the one too people use a lot.
That may have been the one that I had tried initially, but
I didn't like it.
I didn't either. If that's the one I'm thinking, and the other thing too, like some of them will drain your resources more.
Mm-hmm.
And Shotcut was one that whenever I was trying to find a free one, I turned to YouTube for advice. And they said that one wasn't as bad for draining your resources. That was one of the friendly ones. But like some,
there's another one called Filmora.
That's the one. That's the one that's popular.
Because it has a lot of neat things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, Daniel Battelle, does a lot of his with that, and he does tutorials on how to use it. And his last name is spelled Batel.
And Brenda joined us. Hi, Brenda. How are you? And what are you working on? And we should be wrapping up pretty soon. Hopefully within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
We've been here forever. We're cutting into your time.
Because typically I usually do my lives an hour and a half. Now, if I'm like low on streaming hours, then I cut it back to an hour. But like today I'm like it's probably gonna be close to 2 hours. We're at an hour and 48 minutes. Okay, and Samantha wants to know where you're from.
Pennsylvania. I'm actually from Roswell, New Mexico, land of the aliens. Yeah. Illegal in space.
See, that's what, like, you know how everyone does super chats for their lives once they're monetized? I want aliens.
I know.
I gotta figure out how to do something with aliens.
But you know what? There's a problem with super chats, and a lot of people don't realize this. I believe YouTube takes 45% of it. So if someone gives you a super chat, or 30%, I can't remember which one it is, but they do take a big chunk out of it.
You're really better off sending via PayPal.
Or Cash App, or Venmo, or whatever.
Because you get everything from there. But like, yeah, super chats, yeah, YouTube takes a cut. And even like where you buy someone a coffee, with that, they take out, it's not a lot, but they take out a little.
I think it's like PayPal sometimes for those of us that do business. It's like 0.02% or something crazy like that. It's just a little, but it's not as bad as what YouTube takes. Yeah, considering we're providing the content.
And Mary says, once you understand the watch rules, they'll change the rules. Yep.
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
always change things.
they got new rules coming out already. I saw that in an email, and I thought, oh, I have to go read them.
Okay, awesome. Jen says she'll email me. Yeah. And what's funny is Jen had given me her phone number to call her about getting some channels, and I've never gotten around to calling her. I'm not good with when it comes to getting on the phone.
I'm not a
I'm really
phone person.
not. I don't hear good on the phone. I don't. And like for the longest time I used to think that I must have like hearing trouble because like I struggle hearing on the phone. And I even worked at an answering service at one time, and like my boss even like asked because she's like, "Yeah, because you'll ask someone how to spell something and you still it's like, you still don't spell it properly." And she's like, "And I know you're like trying, asking," and she's like, "Are you, do you have trouble with your hearing?" But it's something with phones because last year I had gone to an allergist and he tested my hearing and it was fine because he was concerned with my allergies that it could have, you know, be affecting my hearing. So I don't know, maybe it's a case certain times it's worse than others where maybe, because of the sinuses. I don't know.
Who knows?
Let's see. Cindy joined us. Hi, Cindy. How are you today? And what are you working on? We're fixing to wrap up. And let's see. And Tina's here too. Hi, Tina. How are you? Okay. And Jenny says, I agree with you about phones. I have a hard time hearing on the phone too. And sometimes I do wonder, like, because back when, like it was landline phones, I don't remember having that issue. It seems like once things started going more digital and with like this, especially cell phones. But anyway, I'm all caught up now.
Yay!
Yay. So is there anything you want to say before we wrap things up, Jane?
No, it's just been fun. I enjoyed it.
And I enjoyed having you, Jane, and thank you everyone for watching tonight, and those that will be watching on replay. And I appreciate all of y'all, and I'm so thankful that like y'all support me and y'all gotten me where I am with my channel. Monetization should be soon.
Congratulations.
So anyway, I hope everyone has a fabulous evening and a fabulous tomorrow. Be the light and bye.
Bye.